They say we should have known better than to fall so deep down into this rabbit hole we found. And I was thinking.
Hi, this is Nikolai, and you're listening to my dad, Rafal, co-host James Jardine, and featuring Mr. Jim Tiller on the one and only Down the Security Rabbit Hole podcast. Plug in, listen up, and enjoy.
Deep into this pool of regrettable situations. Pitch black, think back to the last time that we were happy.
All right, batteries to power, turbines to speed. Let's go. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Welcome down the Security Rabbit Hole to another edition of the Down the Security Rabbit Hole podcast. This is Raf, hosting your favorite podcast of the cybersecurity community, running episode 686. That's 686 for you kids that were looking to go crazy because I said the other number. I did not. I said 686. And Jim, welcome back to the show, sir.
Hey, man, thank you.
You
man,
look like you're
right to the end of the year.
Properly bundled up. It's cold, huh?
Oh, yeah. Everybody likes it cold in the house but me, so I'm going full old lady with the.
I cranked the heat to 70 in the house because I'd like to. It is coming to a very important weekend in Chicago sports, and that is the rematch with that team that's up north that we all dislike, the Green Bay Packers. It's hard to say, and it's like I was watching at the gym this morning, ESPN. They have a predictive model and said something like if the Bears win, they have like an 86% chance of winning the division. If the Packers win, they have like an 87% chance. But like the losing team basically falls out.
Wow!
So somebody's body's gonna be left cold on that field, and it better be Green Bay. Anyway, I like to tell you, the guys, that we've got a returning guest. One of my favorite foreign accents. Rob Allen's back. Hey, buddy.
How are you, my friend? You accuse me of having a foreign accent, but everything that you've just spoken about for the last 3 or 4 minutes, I have no idea what you're saying. It might as well be a foreign language because bears and books and.
What's your sport, Rob? Cricket?
Oh, how dare you? Now that I am deeply and fundamentally offended by that assertion that I might even remotely enjoy cricket. So no, I do not like cricket. My kind of football involves the feet.
The round ball.
Yes, the round ball, not
sport.
The hand egg. Yeah, not the hand egg. Hand egg is not football.
The hand egg.
That's more accurate, right?
Yes, it is. So yeah, no, I look. I have a tremendous amount of respect for your national sports or your sports. I do quite enjoy watching them from time to time, but at the end of the day, football should involve feet. And don't tell me about punts. Don't tell me about extra points. That's like 5 seconds of a 15-hour game.
It's basically rugby watered down is American football. It's like a modified rugby without all the. Yeah.
What do you call those pads that ladies wear on their shoulders? Shoulder pads. Yes, it's basically rugby shoulder pads.
That's hilarious.
Sorry.
Hey, who's your team, Rob? If you got who do you cheer for?
Liverpool. Oh, do you mean in funny sports?
No. This I'd like to show you my Chelsea.
Oh, I'm sorry for your trouble. That's unfortunate.
Hey, how's it going signing Salah?
I think Mo might be off in the not too distant future, and it makes me sad, but it also doesn't really. He's with the greatest respect, and he is an absolute legend and one of the best players of all time, certainly in the Premier League. But he is quite old, quite slow, and he's been a bit SH1T for probably about 9 months now.
It's been an interesting dynamic in European football lately with all the players moving around. I know we'll get to the cyber podcast in a second for those of you guys going, where's my content?
I'm just glad that I could actually contribute to a conversation. And
but so give me a minute, guys. But I just saw, and this may just be wild speculation or rumor, but as a former Chicagoan, the fact that Robert Lewandowski is talking to Chicago Fire about coming to play in the MLS, I'm already getting a jersey.
But much like Mo, he is what can only be described as old.
Yes, but he's a legend in scoring. And I would say I would put him against Mo. I think he's better.
Ooh.
We can count goals all you'd like.
Google,
International
goal and
we can count goals for club and country, and I bet you Rob's got more.
Yeah, I suspect so. I don't know. I could go Google it now, but it'd be a bit rude to all the people on the podcast. So I'm not going to, but I could pretty confidently say Mo has more. But I will say Lewandowski is very good. He's been very good for a lot of years, and a lot of years I think may be the issue. Now, mind you, Messi's here. And he seems to be having fun. So
Busquets, I think, is coming back for one more year because he's like, hey, I just won it all at the age of like 87. He's going to be playing soccer or football in like with a walker, and he'll still be running circles around Americans.
He always walked, really, to some extent. He was never much of a runner, so I think that the pace of the league might actually suit him. Listen, and as I said, I'm just delighted to be able to actually contribute to a sporting conversation rather than being confused.
I love it. That's the one universal language is football,
sports ball,
soccer.
Yes, sports ball.
Yeah. All right, so I've got you on to talk about. We're 5 and 6 minutes in, and I've got you on to talk about cyber. What have you been up to? What's going on in your world on the endpoint side? Like, what's new? It's exciting. It's been a while since we talked to you.
Well, it depends on exactly when we last spoke, because there is a lot of new and exciting and fun stuff. We had our
Zero
own
Trust World, I think, is the last time, so it's been a minute.
Yes, so obviously we announced a number of new things at Zero Trust World, patch management and web control being the main ones. Both have been going extremely well. Customers really like them. Web control especially is really, really relevant to a lot of organizations. Kind of comes back to the whole idea of one portal, one product, one thing to manage, one thing to own, not needing to have 10 different agents on your machine, which again is very much what we're about. So that went really well and has been popular. We, as we mentioned beforehand, also brought out Defense Against Configurations in August, which people have been incredibly keen about. Now, I'm not a compliance guy. You might think I am, but I'm not a compliance guy. But apparently people are very hot about compliance and they want to be told when they're not compliant. So Defense Against Configurations is basically telling them that, and they're all very happy about it. So, and it's something we've pretty much given away for free anyway. So it's not like a separate module.
I like free.
Anybody who's got Threat Locker basically has access to Defense Against Configurations and all the juicy data contained therein.
I like that you brought up the idea of a singular agent, like reducing number. I think, Jim, for a long time, I think the race was to the bottom. Well, how many agents you could cram into a system that would arguably start fighting with each other at some point, right?
It was a running joke. We would take screenshots to see who had the most of them running.
The best was when the EDR started fighting with when we had legacy antivirus. Legacy antivirus would pick up and start deleting the EDR tool, which would then start deleting the antivirus tool, which would cause a blue screen and the machine would die. And you're like, well, that went well.
And then you had to get special software to pry the junk out of your system so it would work.
That's right. Yeah, there's always that. I would in a lovely utopia. In my mind, there's a niche for everything. I get that, but I would like as few agents as possible. I would like one thing. In fact, I would like there to be no offense, Rob, but I'd like there to be no need for any additional cyber tools because our operating system vendors have figured out how to protect us.
That's crazy talk, Rob.
I know.
I
know. I'm sorry. I know.
Yeah, I don't know what did somebody say? What happened? Where did that come from? That'll never. It's like some sort of universal thing. But I will say this: how cool would it be to have almost like a container mechanism that, say, ThreatLocker had a container that you put the operating system in, and it would just take care of everything. So it could just, you know what I mean?
If only things like that could be built.
The other thing that is relevant to that, so obviously we're talking about agents on the machine. pretty much every agent on the machine, in most cases, also has a portal that needs to manage that agent.
Yes.
So you need to not only install multiple agents on the machine, you also need to learn and understand and know how to use multiple different portals as well. It also means bills. So you're going to have multiple bills and multiple portals and multiple agents running on machine. I mean, I've seen horror stories of some customers or some environments using having 15 or 16 different portals managed just for cybersecurity.
And and I'll do you one better, because this comes from my world, my day job world, where because all these portals are web portals and they run on certificates, right? Wouldn't it be weird if like, say the secure certificate for the portal that runs your web proxy or your certificate management portal expired?
Oh. Are you saying this happened to you?
I'm saying no. I am not making such a claim, but I'm saying I may have seen something like that very recently, where the tool that manages the tool had the thing that it managed expire, meaning you couldn't access the thing because the thing that tool didn't catch the thing that expired. Like, this was one of those like circular reasoning things that drives you to madness, because and it somehow like the universe implodes upon itself. Literally, what happened was there was a portal. It ran on, HTTPS, as it would, type the correct thing in. Good. You go to it and it says the certificate is invalid. You're like, what? It's expired. Well, how do I bypass that? Well, it's a secure app, so it won't let you. So how do I go to change it when it's expired? And the answer, we'll just reinstall it.
Oh, no, really? Are you serious? I thought you were going to say, like, jump to the
them.
CLI where everything real is done anyway.
Just repush all the, just build a new, repush all that. No, that's how it's going to go. And you're like, what?
Wow.
If only there were ways to detect when you've got like expiring certs on your network. Too bad that technology does not yet. Wait, no. So anyway, yeah, single agents it sounds like a really good idea. And I long for those days where we get from, like, it was nice when we didn't have agents way back in the day when it's like operating system YOLO. Then we realized that was a terrible idea. And now we're over bloated and still kind of YOLO.
There's got to be a happy medium.
There's never a happy medium. Have you learned nothing, Rob?
You are hypothesizing about an amazing, perfect world where, operating system vendors, say Microsoft, for example, actually making an operating system that isn't tremendously insecure and absolutely full of holes. I mean, it is one of my pet peeves with the Microsoft getting into EDR and cybersecurity and so on, in that it's kind of like the whole mafia thing where, that's a really nice house. It'd be terrible if something happened to it. That's a really nice operating system. It would be a shame if somebody was to hack it.
Well, I solved that by moving my entire thing over to my Mac, which doesn't wait, hold on.
Careful now.
Not right either. That's not right either.
Now. I have this argument with Danny, our CEO, all the time. He's a Windows guy. I'm a Mac guy. I mistakenly once upon a time may have said that Macs are infinitely more secure than Windows, and I to some extent will stand by that, but I did subsequently get my ass handed to me on a live webinar one time where they hacked the Bluetooth connection between my Mac and my AirPods and basically masqueraded as a keyboard, opened up terminal and ran a reverse shell on my Mac. Now, for anyone who's never seen what a reverse shell looks like on a Mac, I very much encourage people, go to revshells.com. Revshells.com is an incredibly cool website where basically you put in your target operating system, you put in the IP address you want to connect to, the port, and it gives you a bunch of different options as to how to run a reverse shell. If you do that for Mac, the first one I think is shell or bash, and it is literally just SH pipe to an IP address. That's it. That's a reverse shell on the Mac. It's no more complicated than that. Even PowerShell on Windows makes it a little bit complicated, but it's tremendously easy. But apart from the whole getting my ass handed to me on a webinar and a reverse shell being unbelievably trivial on a Mac, I do stand by my assertion that they are more secure than Windows.
I keep seeing I keep seeing that in different blogs and stuff that I haven't run about it in a minute, but like that Microsoft, because they're being that's such a large target, right? They continuously find new and exciting ways to thwart the attacks. So they've been ahead of Apple on things like memory protection, things like encryption, and some other stuff. And that may just simply be because the attacks are focused on Windows because of the volume. And I'm sure Apple has caught up to it or catching up to it. I don't know. I stopped being that deep into operating systems when I couldn't hit Control Shift Escape and name all the things in the task manager.
Yeah. That's a long time ago, right?
That's right. Thank you for pointing that out. Yes, I too am old, much like my favorite football players. But like that. Yeah. Do you remember those days? Like when you could Control Shift Escape and look through Windows Task Manager, like, okay, that's misbehaving. I know what that is. You go, oh, I don't recognize that. I'm just going to kill that and see what happens. And nothing happened. You're like, well, that was bad. Like, I wonder what that was.
Well,
I tried that recently. I didn't recognize anything.
That's kind of why I like Mac. So again, prior Threat Locker, back in ancient past, when I used to work for an IT company, I used to spend all day, every day, basically fixing people's computers. It was fun. It was basically what I liked doing, and it was great that I was able to get a job doing it. So it was like ideal scenario. But I also reached a point where I didn't want to do the same thing and spend all of my time fixing my own computer as well. So that was the point that I went from using Windows to using Mac, and it was the best from a personal computing perspective. It was the best thing I ever did in my entire life.
Wow!
I genuinely, I spend all day fixing other people's computers. I don't want to spend all day or all night fixing my own computer.
That's fair.
But yeah, that was the reasoning behind it. People and Danny will say, "Oh, they're toy computers," and I'm like, "Well, A, they're not. B, nothing ever goes wrong. It just
there's something to be said.
It just works."
Well, back to your point of like single agent. There's something to be said for having building the hardware, building the operating system around the hardware and the drivers. So you know the limitations of manufacturing process, the ins and outs. I think, and this is kind of an endpoint problem to be, like this is how I think, in my opinion, this is how it all started. The minute we introduced third-party drivers and software, particularly things that could touch the operating system layer, like we lost it. The plot was gone, and we're in trouble.
Absolutely.
Yeah. In fairness, there is talk after a particular event happened, I think earlier this year, there is talk on from Microsoft's side about basically removing things from the driver.
Yeah, I saw that.
Which, to be honest, Apple already do. I mean, what did I say removing things from the driver? Removing things from the kernel.
Yeah.
Apple already kind of do that to a large extent, and they basically they make it really difficult, if not impossible, to actually get things anywhere near the kernel. And again, it's something to be applauded. It's a really good idea. Now, whether they can actually make it happen with, as you said, the absolute Everest-sized mountain of technical debt and all the crap that they do currently let access to kernel. I mean, they're talking about specifically in the context of cybersecurity tools. And look, if they make suitable APIs available, we can call, happy days. But realistically, the amount of other legacy technical debt that they carry along with all of the different drivers for every single goddamn piece of hardware that's out there, it just...
Well, so
I'm saying that's a really important distinction, right? I'm not wanting to defend Microsoft, okay? But if I were to defend Microsoft, which I'm not, is they have to create an environment that's consistent across almost an infinite range of conditions, right?
Yeah.
And ask anybody, just write me a basic website. Sometimes it's hard to get it work on everything across multiple things, right? So, I mean, in that sense, I can respect that. And I do think introducing third-party stuff that doesn't go through a very rigorous process, like the standards that Apple has in some cases, and the massive testing just for apps they have on their phones is unbelievable, right? Which the rest of the industry has adopted in some way, shape, or form, but not necessarily to that degree. It is a different animal in some cases, right? But you would think I kind of thought this was going to happen with evolutions of the Windows operating system, that we would start addressing, like you said, Rob, that tech debt, right? Like so much they have to support. And I get it, right? They're like, what is like server 2012 or whatever just died off. But the net of it is just trying to lean in and start trying to find a way to put that stake in the ground and help them move forward. But I don't think they're ever going to be able to do it, because really,
I think there's only one way to do this, and I think there's only one. Remember, like when we had Windows, so we started Windows 95, reasonably good, ran forever. XP, but like at NT4 on the enterprise side, you had the Windows on Windows thing. Like you could still run 32-bit stuff on top of a 64 machine, and you're like, because compatibility. People were like, that sounds great. Meanwhile, those of us on this podcast going, no, please don't. I know how this goes. Please don't. And like many years later, it just
still the
right.
Same problem.
So I think the only way out of this, and you both mentioned technical debt, I think the only way out of this is bring no tech debt with. Start with complete, and then maybe Microsoft's doing this. Call it Windows the Evolution. I want that name. Give me royalties.
Windows Evolution.
Now,
right?
This is an interesting.
Right. So start from scratch, no legacy
do it
code,
properly.
and do it. Protect the kernel. Write proper hooks that as an API rather than direct hooks in. So write like the ways third-party drivers can interface with, can talk to an interface. That interface passes specific control requests into the kernel at specific times, right? You can't.
This sounds like a tremendous idea, but what I'm going to hit you with is what everybody's going to say, which is, but my account software won't work on it.
Right, exactly.
And also think of this, right? One of the things that we also have to keep calculating in the back of our mind in the Microsoft business context is, I don't know, Rob, you probably know that number better than I do, but the third-party layers on top of Microsoft, it represents $1 trillion industry globally. Easily
comfortably.
$1 trillion, right? So they make a shift, and the whole thing spins around in some weird direction, and then you get, a $1 billion trillion company reaching down Microsoft's throat, like, nope, you can't make that.
Yeah, you broke our stuff.
Yeah, exactly. It's too big to fail.
Back to the technical question, Raffle. The other thing that we have introduced relatively recently, it may not be this year, and this is going to make you laugh, but our most recently added operating system or agent support is, in fact, Windows XP.
What now?
Yep.
Hold on. Wait. So with that, what? Just hold on.
Yeah.
I need to put the
No, it is
back
exactly
on the wheel.
what it sounds like. We have we're asked by a good many customers to support their Windows XP machines, or to give them something that they could run on their Windows XP machines. Yeah, it's about 2002, I think, is what you're googling there right now. Is it?
Yes, that's what I literally popped the window. April. Well,
yeah, and our Windows XP agent became available in, I think, either late 2024 or 2025.
So as of April 8th,
2003, by the way.
So April 8th, 2014 is when Microsoft stopped fully anything to do with XP.
Yeah.
It's been not just EOS, end of support, end of life. Like, stop talking about it. We've disavowed it.
EOL, it's been shot in the head. It's been dumped in the garden in a shallow grave. Yeah, absolutely. But we have customers who have machines that are, for whatever reason, still in 2025 running Windows XP. And 100%. They have several 2003s as well, which equally they need protected. Another really interesting thing about this year is that our Linux agent has been getting more and more and more mature and catching up with the other things. And one of the battles that we've been fighting is because of all of the different flavors and variations of Linux and all the different kernels and all the different everythings. Getting support for as many customers' endpoints as possible has been somewhat of a challenge. Now, we have solutions for newer versions of the operating system, but old ones, basically, we just have to build for a particular kernel. But what a lot of customers wanted for is to protect old assets. So basically, like Red Hat 6, that kind of stuff. Now, it's not quite as old as XP, but you're still talking something 14, 15 years. 15 years old. But
wow.
Their attitude is, look, we need to run these things. We need to secure these things. What can you guys do to help us? So we can't say, no, forget about it. We're never going to touch it. We have to try and solve the problem for as many customers as possible.
2 questions.
Yes.
Not necessarily. You can answer these in any order you'd like. 1, what are the like use cases you see for this old stuff? And 2, are they concerned because there's a threat model somewhere for against Windows XP or Red Hat 6? Okay, so that's yes.
I mean, the fact of the matter is, because they're end of life for so many years, there are vulnerabilities, there are problems in these operating systems that if you leave them on a network, they will be found, they will be seen, they will be exposed, they will be exploited. So they are genuine concern. And similarly with those Linux distros, I mean, just because it hasn't been touched since 2014 doesn't mean that there isn't stuff broken in it. And if there's stuff broken in it, it can be exploited. So, I mean, look, at the end of the day, bad guys are looking for any weak link in a chain. And if you've got, 3 XP machines sitting in the corner, bunch of old rows that you've no protection on there, what's going to get targeted?
Yeah, but I mean, but we all understand that. I don't think organizations are doing this because they don't want to be secure. I think there's real situations that the cost is just, and it would shut the doors of the business, right? Mm-hmm. And I can rattle off dozens of examples where it's completely legitimate, right? Whether it be automotive manufacturing, I mean, there's dozens, healthcare, yada, yada, yada. So, it begs the question. It's like, okay, just because Microsoft said it's done and we have this vulnerability debt, right? The fact that you're supporting it, I think, is a huge positive thing that a lot of organizations should probably listen to, because, I guess you guys learn from your customer, saw it made sense to your business to do it, and it certainly helped them in getting that through. But I don't think any company wants to have that stuff. It's just a cost of updating it. It threatens somewhat. And I think it's only going to get worse, right? It's one of those things where the ability to upgrade is getting, the benefits are not really there in some cases.
There are some instances when I've got immense amounts of sympathy for people for, as I said, the examples you gave are perfect ones. So manufacturing, that kind of stuff, they've got this old system, it only works on XP and it's going to cost $1 million to change it. Completely understand that, completely accept it, completely agree with it. One of my slight, and I shouldn't say this too loud, but one of my slight pet peeves is, and it's specifically relating to Linux, and again, all the distros, all the kernels, all the versions. I can completely get on board with an organization having, a bunch of Red Hat 6 machines for whatever reason. I can get on board and have a bunch of Red Hat 7 machines, Red Hat 8 machines. But when they've got Red Hat 6.1, 6.2, 6.3, 6.4, 6.5, 6.6, all the 7s, all the 8s, and different kernels, my mind just blows. It's like we've got, I'm really sorry, but we've got 56 versions of Red Hat in production. Can you support them all, please? Could you not just at least upgrade to the one that's just above it? So, or even can you not just all get on to 6.9, please, rather than having 6.4 and 6.6 and 6.8 for random reasons? And look, maybe there's really good legitimate reasons for it, but it blows my mind that we have to not only do Red Hat 6, we have to do multiple kernels of Red Hat 6. And not only do we have to do Red Hat 7, we have to do all those different versions of Red Hat 7 as well. It breaks my heart. But we do what we do for our customers because we love them.
It's a different calculus in that scenario. You and I both know that, right?
Yeah. Listen, guys, I'm going to be one of those people that I usually point and say, you just like, okay, you're clueless. So I'm going to be one of those people for a second, because I worked at it, in my time in large enterprise and the largest enterprise when it was the largest enterprise at a time when we were looking to sunset NT4. Yes, I was finding Windows 3.1.1 for work groups because that was still a thing. And for the very reason, Jim, that you mentioned, and that is it was called the upgrade path at that point had broken, and it was going to be a sheer full replacement, and that cost was astronomical. So here's my main point of this. While there is still an upgrade path, there is the costs don't get crazy. Right? Genuinely. It's when you're on version Red Hat 6, 6.0.0.0, and 14 comes out. You're like, well, okay, we're ready to upgrade now. And they look at you and go, that's not like there's no bridge between here and Jupiter. Like, I'm sorry, you're just going to have to like just join us over here. They're like, and the business goes, wait, you want me to just wipe it, everything, business process, all the things that because these software platforms, the reason they don't get replaced easily, it's because it's that one manufacturer that's been dead for 10 years in a process. And not only that, but like Jim, you're talking about automotive, a fabrication process, machinery and robotics and knowledge and shop floor workers and manuals built around all this. And there's no simple upgrade. There's no upgrading that you're like, why? It's not broken. It works just fine. You're like, yes, but it's running on a 486. Do you understand what that means? And they're like, no, what is that? Right. And then you're like, oh, I understand, non-computer people. Gotcha. Because they don't think like we do. Right. This is the same thing where people say, like, there are people that run out and grab the latest iPhone when it comes out because it's the latest iPhone. And then there's like people that are like, why? My phone that I got 4 years ago still works great. Battery lasts. I haven't found a task I can't do yet. The camera's awesome.
It's orange now. I mean, it would match your shirt thing.
Rob, I tell you what, if you take your previous gen iPhone and you give me $500, I will make sure I can make it orange. It'll be half the price. Still most of the features.
Yeah. No, the phone thing is just a bad example because I am what can only be described as an Apple whore.
but that exists. But like, there's those of us that, the latest Mac OS update comes out, and back when it was still OS X and whatever, but like, 27.1.0, we're like, oh, gotta go get that. And people then there's like everybody else was like, let's see what happens to them first. Now,
it's like you're talking about me. It's like you're looking inside my brain and seeing all the things that I do that are right. But over
the last decade, I have slowly exited that club, and I'm not now firmly in the camp of like, let's see what happens. I'm gonna try that when the second patch level comes out and they've fixed all the things that like nuke your Windows or nuke your Mac after update.
It could be one or two things, Rafa. I'm not going to suggest it's one or the other, but it's either experience or age. Now, I'm not saying you're old. Both? It can very much be both. Yes, yeah, but the fence sitting that you described is one or the other.
I'm firm, like, but then you get to a point where, like I said, you've got something that works, and we're trying to protect it. And it's interesting because for a while there was only really one endpoint security company that I could point to that had protection and thought about at the time. The furthest back they went was Windows XP, right? But that is got to be almost 7-8 years ago. So now you guys are building. Like, how far are you willing to go? Like, if I give you a Windows 95 box with a good business case, you gonna write me an agent? Because I might want to go back.
And $1 million contract, like, absolutely, Raf. Absolutely, I will 100% do that for you. Again, look, it depends. It's not just generally something that we will do because one customer goes, "Hey, do you mind doing this?" But if we see a pattern of need across many big customers, or if a question comes to us, can you do this, and it comes to us from a lot of different sources, then absolutely it's something that is in our best interest to do. I mean, where do you draw the line is probably a reasonable question. Hopefully at Windows XP. Because I don't even want to consider.
Can you get?
It's really hard.
So, I'm going to ask you. This is so far, I guess, from anything I thought we'd talk about today, but that's okay. It's my show. When you build an agent for a machine that's that old, you're not getting feature parity.
God, no.
Right. So, what does best effort look like? And how do you connect it?
From the XP perspective, it's very simple. So basically, we had a pretty straightforward remit, which is we need an agent that will do allow listing on Windows XP.
Okay. All right. Well,
pretty much. So all the sexy new stuff we're doing, all the patching, all the web control, all the network control, everything else doesn't do any of those things. The requirement was, or what customers wanted was basically allow listing for Windows XP.
Okay. Well, that's fair. Like, I feel like that's a doable
it simply
thing.
wouldn't be possible to do most of the new. I mean, it was effectively a complete rewrite, but most of the new things would just not be possible. I mean, there's hoops that we have to jump in through even to make it work. So, like, it doesn't support TLS 1. I think it's only TLS 1.1, if I'm not mistaken.
Does it go that far?
I think so, but no
Maybe.
further. So that means communicating with the data centers, which don't support that and aren't going to support that, because if we do, then every pen test that we do will go, you still support TLS 1.1. So we have to use a relay agent in between to communicate. So there's a whole pile of hoops that we've had to jump through to even make it possible. But as I said, it was sufficiently important to a sufficient number of customers to mean it was something that we pretty much had to do.
Did you have to like dust off, like, did you have to go back to the art into some like dark archives, pull out the Windows 95 architecture manual, do one of those things where they do in like in the Goonies, but like dust comes out? Like,
not far off it. And the other question then becomes, how do you actually test it? I mean, it's not easy to spin up a VM, Windows XP VM. We had a large customer or a large prospect at one point who wanted to basically test everything out but not do it in their own environment. So we spun up virtual machines for them. Certain things we were able to do in Azure, certain things we were able to do in other places, certain things we had to do. I think we had to do the XP in Google Cloud for some reason. I can't remember the exact details for it, but it was a serious undertaking to actually get. I mean, we were able to do all the Linuxes fairly straightforward. Trying to get an XP VM running in most of the modern cloud infrastructures is not easy.
Yeah, I was going to say, because it's not built to do any of that. It's all native 64-bit, and it's not like
we managed it. I have no idea. I mean, our infrastructure guys who helped out setting up are rock stars, but I've no idea how they managed it. Anyway, we've been down what you might call a security rabbit hole here, Rafa.
Yeah, no, that's
XP.
That's a good one, but I think I'm going to title this episode, "Yes, we still support XP."
Oh God, no! Don't do that! Don't do that! You get me in trouble.
Rob said so. But listen, so this is it intrigues me, right? As we enter the next 25 years of the 2000s, that we're still largely dependent on operating platforms that weren't around at Y2K in certain places, right? And now some of them, like XP expired in 2014. Okay, it's only been 11 years. But when you think about how fast technology changes, 11 years is a long time, right? That is a long time. And
no, absolutely it is. But I mean, put it like this: people bitch at Apple for basically bringing out new operating systems that don't support Macs from 5 years ago, very often, 6 years ago. So they've got a relatively short window whereby they can basically throw all of the old stuff away and say, we don't need to worry about that anymore. I got a call from my dad back home in Ireland quite recently. He was like, I can't update Office on my computer. So the reason he couldn't update Office on his Mac was because his Mac wasn't running the latest version of Mac OS. So I said, that's no problem. That's fine. Just go into Apple and settings and software update and you'll be fine. Can't update because the iMac that he's running is now no longer supported by Apple for the latest operating system. Now, it's a bit of a pain, but that's what Apple do. If that was Microsoft...
But this is a MacBook Pro from 2017. It operates just like, I mean, it's a little slower now, but I edit the show on that and still edit my video. I haven't found anything that works yet. That's not to say that like come January 1, it's not going to be like, sorry, you're out of luck. But
if it hasn't hit yet, it's going to hit you pretty soon. I suspect it'll probably be next year if it's still running. I'm surprised 2017. Is it running Tahoe?
No, this is running. No, this stopped. I mean, I still get patches and everything.
But you can't update to the latest and greatest.
Right.
Yeah.
But I'm still getting patch updates.
Oh no, you will still get security updates and stuff for a period. It's just you won't be able to run the latest and sexiest and newest.
I find myself that like younger me, that was an obsession that that was a requirement. Now I use my computer for what I do on it, like finances, edit the podcast, check email, do other kinds of work. And I'm like, it's okay because let's see, come on. This is Ventura. So this is Ventura.
Yeah. Quite old. To be honest, I might not look like I'm judging you right now, Raf, but I'm totally judging you right now.
Yeah, well, it's funny because again, the further I go down in my career, the more I realize that it's okay. Like this is 8 years old, and that's all right.
It could be new and shiny.
Yeah, but new and shiny is expensive, and I don't want to put money towards something that's like that. I don't have to update because I don't have to update it.
Oh my god!
Well, I'm just gonna tell you that.
Like I need to cut the tension.
I'm just like, man. I mean, as soon as we got into the football versus football / soccer thing, I was like, all right. So here's the deal. First, I'm not a Mac guy. I was forced to use one at one point in my career, not that long ago. And the only way I could use it was I had to drop it to the CLI and do Linux commands. So it was the only way I could use it. Right.
But you could do that.
I can do that with anything, including Linux. But I also want to point out that, that culture of buying a new phone, pointing at you, when it comes out is Apple goes, well, hey, 99% of our consumers replace their products within, 2-3 year window. So good for them for punting the old stuff because now that keeps them away from that tail, right? I mean, I could argue, but you could also argue is they understand their customer base, which is very, it's loyal. Let's just put it that way, right? But in reality, I'm with Raph, right? If I can just get it to work, I'm good. We're rock and roll. I mean, granted, I would like to have a new phone. Do I want to drop $1,000 on one right now? No. But I think there's a lot of
frankly, Jim, $1,000 on a new phone is amateur hour. If you're spending $1,000 on a new phone, you're not doing it right. You need to be spending significantly more than that. I need all the gigabytes.
You need to get the Pro Expert Platinum Edition.
Okay, I want to Google it.
How much storage do I need?
17,000.
Yeah, you need a terabyte of space on your phone now. My current phone is a 512 meg, which is 512 meg. No, it's a half a terabyte, which means that it has more data storage than all the computers I've had up until I bought that phone put together.
Yeah, I have a terabyte and I have 680 gigs available.
Rob, that's a lot of film you can make and take.
On your phone?
Yes.
Yeah.
No. What?
I have a terabyte phone and I've got 680.58 gigabytes available.
What? So, all right. So sidebar.
You don't
if you have cloud, then why do you need all the storage locally?
I don't, but I do. I absolutely in no way need that much storage, but I totally have to have a terabyte phone.
This is consumerism.
This is my problem with cars. I don't need them, but oh my God, I got to have it.
Thank you. Okay. So yes, you understand. I'm just like that with toys and tech and also cars.
This is fantastic.
Yeah.
I love it. I absolutely love this. Oh my goodness.
Sorry.
So this is interesting because we've now talked about legacy consumerism but also looked at the commercial side of it, and those are clearly two differently moving lanes. Microsoft has tried to merge those, or at least put the same speed limit on both. I just don't think enterprise. I mean, there's two types of enterprises, right? The startup that started yesterday that has no problem doing that, and then a company that's been around for 45 years that is absolutely never going to do that. It's fundamentally against their DNA. It's never going to happen. And I think security, and this is where a lot of people that we know would say, well, then that other company is going to be bad security and the new company is going to be good security. False. They're both terrible. Prove me wrong.
Yeah, exactly.
I feel like I need that table. Like both startups and legacy companies have equally bad security for totally different reasons. Let's haggle.
Would not
disagree. Definitely a t-shirt.
That'd be a great. All right, that's a good place to end. This has been fun, Rob. I know we thought we were going to talk about Microsoft Security Report. It turns out we didn't. We had a much more fun topic.
As I said, we went down a bit of a rabbit hole. I should mention, by the way, so I've got a Teams message off David in the corner of my eye, and I've been told to mention Zero Trust World, which we were both at last year. Next year, it's March 4th to the 6th. It's here in Orlando, in Florida. So if you are cold, wherever you are listening to this, Orlando in March is really nice.
David, I'm looking forward to my invite.
Yeah, David will sort you out. No hats, coats, or anything else required. Apparently, we have a registration code, a special code.
Ooh, give us a code.
Off. ZTW DtSR 26.
Z. He said Z.
Oh my God, we're not going to go down a
Z for those of you that don't speak Gaelic.
Do you see his face? Just go.
Technically, that's the Queen's English. But anyway, sorry. So the code is ZTWDTSR26, and that will get you $200 off this fine event. It's a lot of fun.
It's a good one.
Sure you'll agree.
You know, so it's funny because you guys invited me last year. I went into it the same way I go into every vendor sponsored event. Like, okay, this is going to be a bunch of like vendor stuff. It'll be what it is. And actually, it wasn't. I had a lot of fun. I met a bunch of people that I used to see at events. I got to see Dr. Chase Cunningham. I think he beats me up if I don't say the doctor in front of it.
Oh, no, interesting that you say he beats you up. He terrifies me. I mean, he's the nicest guy in the world. He plays golf, and I'd really like to play golf with him, but he scares me.
Yeah, he's a big guy. He's imposing, Rob. That's the word, is imposing.
That's a really good way of describing him. But yeah, he's an imposing figure. We've had him speaking for the last couple of years, and he's always really good at that as well. But yeah, obviously we had Mark Rober. You wouldn't say Mark Rober, or would you?
Yeah.
Yeah, you saw Mark. Okay, yeah, he was really cool as well. And my kids were especially excited because they actually got to meet him, which was pretty awesome. But no, it's generally like there's very few events in my experience where pretty much all of the attendees are good people, and there's nobody you wouldn't like to talk to or sit down and have a coffee with. That's the interesting thing is you guys put together a conference that was really about the topic, not the product, which is interesting. Like you had plenty of like the certifications and tracks and stuff like that. And I would be absolutely remiss if I didn't talk about the fact that you guys had the most killer reception I have ever been to. I'm trying to remember which one this was and what I was dressed up as.
It was the one, like it was outside.
Oh, it was Fat Thor.
Yes. And it was Jim's got a job. Thanks, Jim.
Thank you, Jim.
But yes, that was a fantastic. Because everybody was like Marvel characters, I think.
Yes,
that was arguably
I was one of two Fat Thors. The other Fat Thor was actually one of our sales guys' pregnant wife.
That was pretty. Not going to say it. I like living. Nope. Nope. Not going to say that.
The good news is she's no longer pregnant and they've got a lovely child. But yeah, she was the other Fat Thor. And I believe this year's party theme is something space related. So I have to now start thinking about something space related that I can dress up as.
I am going to try to see hopefully my calendar is clear in March because I'd love to go to that again. That's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Hey, you guys, if you're thinking about it, and it's actually the idea of Zero Trust is interesting. Zero Trust World in Orlando is a good time. It is. You'll learn some stuff, and I love watching you guys on stage because there's just, it reminds me of like when I loved having fun on stage and doing keynotes and stuff, and it was a good time. So anyway, all right, it's a good place to end it because I already lost Jim and we've been yapping for far too long. So
sorry,
Rob, thanks for being a great guest. This has been fun.
No problem at all, Ralph. Pleasure as always.
Go Chelsea. And
boo.
All right, buddy. We'll talk to you guys another time, another place on another Down the Security Rabbit Hole podcast. We'll see you in 2026 since this show is the last one for 2025. So on to the next. Bye-bye. We'll see you later. Happy New Year. Right. Cheers.
This is Bella. Thanks for listening. Don't forget to leave my dad a review and share this with your friends. Bye.